2. Ok, hi everybody. Oi para todo mundo. Eu hoje estou aqui com a Kirkness e eu estou aqui para falar oi para ela, porque ela vai estar conosco em abril, no dia 18. Hi Karen, how are you?
Oh, hi, Anna. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just telling everybody that you will be here on April 18th. And I will like to ask you, what are you going to talk about on April 18th? Let me translate. Então, ela vai estar conosco em dia 18 de abril e ela vai dar um workshop sobre um tema que ela vai explicar para vocês por que ela escolheu esse tema. Ok.
Okay. Well, Anna, I've been practicing yoga for 25 years. And since the day one, it's always been about core strength. Everyone's always talking about about abs and pelvic floor, hip flexors, multifidus, in really trying to isolate some kind of place where this idea of core resides. And you never question that. And I've never questioned it. I think it's been 20 years of just accepting this curriculum. It's kind of a dogma. Anything that you practice and also teach without questioning is really just, it's dogma. And after a while, everything that we practice and teach, it should always stand up to questioning and testing and rethinking so that we evolve.
Let me translate this. Então, a Karen, ela é professora de yoga faz 25 anos, e há 20 anos ela falou que vem fazendo as aulas, né, e ela fica pensando, a gente tem esse dogma de trabalhar o core, muitas vezes sem questionar como a gente está trabalhando, né, e que seria um ponto legal para a gente revisitar e repensar o core, como que a gente pode abordar de uma outra forma, talvez mais eficiente, mais orgânica, e aí ela desenvolveu esse workshop. Ok.
Sounds much sexier when you say it, Anna.
So you're very right. I'm a Pilates instructor, and we teach, and I catch myself in the same place where you just said. Sometimes we are just doing, and we have to ask ourselves, can we do better than this? Things are evolving to a new place. So what do you think about what is the most important thing that we should rethink about core?
It's a great question. And I think it comes down to the whole rethinking of local effects, that we're constantly looking for local solutions and very discrete, or meaning separate regions and exercises that are very specific. And I don't think that is wrong. Oh, sometimes because we're so focused on just this tiny thing, we forget to think globally. So I think as movement professionals who are interested in advancing our profession, is that we keep our focus on the detail, but also can we expand our definition and expand our perspective so that we're looking at the global system and looking at complex adaptive systems as a bigger understanding of forces that we would otherwise point to as local. It's actually a feature of the global system and the global architecture.
Então, eu falei para ela que eu também, né, como uma instrutora de Pilates, me peguei várias vezes perguntando se eu estava fazendo a coisa certa em relação ao core, se tinha alguma coisa mais orgânica, melhor para ser feita naquele momento. E aí eu perguntei para ela, quando a gente fala de core, qual que é a coisa mais importante para a gente pensar? E ela falou assim que o problema é que a gente pensa muito na questão de ser uma coisa local, e a gente deveria pensar mais global, né? E quando a gente muda essa perspectiva do local para o global, muda muita coisa. And when we think about global, we are all immediately thinking about biotensegrity, right? And with your experience with biotensegrity and yoga and all your practice, what has changed in your practice when with this new vision of biotensegrity?
Well, I feel like I am less uh, forceful. I
Mm-hmm.
think, yeah, before I mean, I'm an athlete and I like to push the limits. So I now look for a way to push the limits and get that strong practice. I like a strong practice, but now I'm really clear about how I channel the effort into a serving way. And it's all for me now, it's all about rotation and about moving in spirals. So my practice has really gone into a space of harnessing the spirality of the system and moving with that rather than kind of pushing into postures at all costs.
Uhum. Então, eu perguntei para ela o que que mudou, né, no trabalho dela com essa nova visão da biotensegridade. E ela falou que ela vem do esporte e ela estava muito acostumada a sempre trabalhar nos limites dela. Então, trabalhar talvez com muita força, com muita intenção, assim, de esforço. E aí, quando você pensa na biotensegridade, esse esforço ele fica mais generoso, ele fica mais, entre aspas, carinhoso. Você consegue trabalhar esse limite, mas não numa forma que você vai machucar o teu corpo, respeitando mais. E para ela é tudo sobre espirais e rotação. So I'm very curious to know when you say it's all about spirals and rotations. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, yes, I could talk all day about that. Written this book about spirality in the body, and it's everywhere in nature because the spiral is nature's growth pattern. And in the body, just to take one example that's practical, during embryological development in the first 3, 4, 5 weeks of life after fertilization, the limbs, they come out of the body and they rotate around and the hands turn up. So it's this action of rotation that takes all of the soft tissues around with it. And the legs are the same. They stick out like a turtle and then they come around the front of the body and then the soles of the feet they turn down. So you get this in and down pattern for the legs.
Uhum,
And
uhum,
then looking at the rotation of the torso, we have a symphony of rotation because every flexion, it is associated with micro movement within the motion segments of the spine. So this goes back to the law of coupled motion, of closed kinematic chains, and how every one motion links to an infinite number of other little motions. And when you analyze it, it's all this action. It's spiral
uhum. Então, ela falou que ela está escrevendo um livro. Your book's name is
bound.
Spiral Bound.
Spiral. Mm.
Então, ela está escrevendo um livro chamado Spiral Bound. E nesse livro ela aborda muito as espirais. Então ela fala que o nosso corpo ele é formado por essas espirais, desde quando a gente nasce. Nas primeiras 4 semanas, quando começa a nascer o braço, ele nasce aqui do lado e aí ele vem espiralando e rodando até a sua mão ficar desse jeito. E as pernas também nascem and the feet also, eles vão para o lado e depois rodam para se apoiarem o pé no chão. Então, esse movimento de rotação e de espiral, ele é um movimento que existe no nosso corpo desde os primeiros dias de vida. E toda vez que a gente tem um movimento de flexão, a gente tem invariavelmente na coluna micromovimentos de espirais. Então, são movimentos que se combinam, né, para formar um outro movimento que a gente consegue visualizar, por exemplo, a flexão e os micromovimentos da coluna que talvez a gente não consiga ver tanto, mas estão presentes. So yeah, I remember I was at Jaap van der Waal course, and he was talking about this, and I think it's so beautiful and so real. And we can also see spirals in natures and everywhere, as a matter of fact, right?
Right. Absolutely. You've probably seen this one before with Joe.
Yes.
Yes. So this is one you're familiar with, and I don't know how much you'll get to see this, but it's just so illustrative of the spirals in cross ply, how they make this volume, and then this becomes it's a model of the human body plan. This channel is the gastrointestinal tract of the embryo. So this is a really strong model of embryological development. And then I always go back to this model as well, because it shows the cross ply arrangement where you get the two opposite directionalities that form something that's really stable. And I'm sure you've seen these models before. If
Mhm.
you've worked with Joe, you'll get lovely models all the time. So
So let me explain the models. Então, ela tem dois modelos que ela gostaria de mostrar para vocês. Um modelo é esse modelo da espiral, e esse modelo deixa bem evidente para nós as espirais presentes, né? Yes. E esse modelo, no meio, no fulcro, a gente tem o que eles chamam de o sistema gastrointestinal, né? E aí esse outro modelo, né, que é um modelo que mostra essas fibras num sentido de criss-cross, e também mostram esse trabalho da espiral em conjunto. Karen, I have a question. This last model also explains about chirality, right?
yes. So chirality or chirality is the quality of a substance being actually a pair. So you have left and right sides. It's the quality of being a non-superimposable mirror image. Like your hands, if you lay your hands over top of each other, they're not the same. They're the opposite. So they are actually the reverse of one another. So in the case of a spiral, you have a right turning spiral and a left turning spiral. And that is just like your hands and feet. If you were to continue with the motion of the hands and feet, they would be in opposition, the opposite, but identical, right? But opposite.
Opposite, ok. Então, esse conceito de quiralidade quer falar sobre dois pares, como por exemplo a mão, mas que se você sobrepor uma sobre a outra, não são idênticas, né? Mas são dois pares, né? Porque você tem a mão direita e a mão esquerda. Mas se você for por uma imagem sobreposta, elas não vão ficar iguais, tá? Mas as duas são semelhantes. E nas espirais, a gente tem a espiral da direita e a espiral da esquerda, né? E no nosso corpo a gente tem essas espirais, né, para um lado e para o outro, que também vão formar, então, por exemplo, os nossos membros inferiores, os nossos braços. Thank you for your explanation. I think this is a pretty new concept for most of the Brazilian people. So, okay.
It's really technical. The chirality, at first it's like, well, so what?
Yeah.
So what? But it's so fundamental to organic chemistry because of all of the amino acids. They're all chiral, proteins, chiral. You see it throughout nature from the smallest particles. It's a strategy of nature to have these mirror images and having them come into balance. And it reflects the human body plan, and it's just fundamental to life.
Então, ela falou que quiralidade é uma coisa muito importante da gente conhecer, porque ela está presente desde as microestruturas como proteínas, né? São formadas, então, com esse conceito, e esse conceito é importante porque ele traz um equilíbrio, né? Por exemplo, para nós também, esse conceito é importante porque ele traz o nosso equilíbrio, ele traz o balance, né? Então, é importante a gente saber esse conceito, porque esse conceito é vida no nosso corpo. Okay, thank you. So, we're very excited to have you on April 18th. We're looking forward, and I'm sure this is a subject that interests everybody here. There's always these, questions about it, these reflections. So it's going to be very, very important for all of us. I thank you so much for being here with us, and we look forward to see you. Então, a Karen vai estar no dia 18 de abril, dando o workshop do CORE, ok? Vai ser um pouco de teoria e prática, e ela vai falar um pouco mais de biotensegridade para todos nós, um assunto que nos interessa muito. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Anna. Can't wait to see you and meet you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.